Hello, welcome to Go Ballistic, the Scottish Sun's look at the weekend's football. It's an international week. As you know, Scotland go to Croatia to take on Luka Modric and Co tomorrow evening, ahead of Cristiano Ronaldo in Portugal, arriving at Hampden on Tuesday night. Later in the show, we'll speak to Sun Sports' Bookie Basher Jim Delahunt, who'll give you all the tips, not only for the game in Zagreb, but also for the domestic football this weekend. Even Jim didn't back Greece at 10-1 last night, unfortunately. Neither, Kenny. You're a bit of a punter. You're like a 50 pence each way to annoy our chief football writer, Robert Grieve.
Indeed.
You have anything in Greece last night?
Sadly not, but I did watch the game and I was surprised, would be putting it mildly. I'm sure our English colleagues feel similarly both about the starting lineup. It was back to the Craig Levein era, which you'll remember well, playing without a striker. But just the general performance was very, very poor, but that's for our English colleagues to ruminate over.
And it's going to be the weekend of the away win. Greece win at Wembley, the Republic of Ireland win in Finland with Liam Scales of Celtic scoring an equalising goal. Therefore, Scotland have to win in Croatia.
And Scotland have previous.
Yeah.
I was there many years ago, 2013.
Yes, Robert Snodgrass.
Robert Snodgrass scored in the Maximir Stadium. A tremendous performance. I'm not entirely sure this Croatian team of the current era is up to the standard of that one. I can remember even before that, Scotland going there in around 2000, 2001, getting a very creditable draw in the era of Prosinecki and that Croatian team. I don't think this team, Modric apart, is of that standard. Very disappointing in the Euros, I thought. Didn't get out of their group. They've kind of muddled their way along in these Nations League games. Narrow win over Poland. Lost their first game, I think.
Yeah, in Portugal. Yeah.
In Portugal. So they're not of the quality of previous Croatian teams. They've lost a couple from the summer. Brozovic is retired. Vida's retired. So Dalic, the coach, who's been there a long time, is working with what he has. He's trying to bring in some new players. But it's a kind of tried and tested team, a tried and tested system that they play, very reliant on Modric, and you wonder where they'll go when Modric finally retires.
They sound a bit like us. Underperformed at the Euros, not a great start in the Nations League, lost a few players, a manager that's been there a while trying to muddle through with what he's got. Is Steve Clarke muddling through this time?
Well, you know, I think the difficulty Steve has had is that he's lost again. He's lost players. We're still missing Tierney. We're still missing Patterson.
There's a few defenders out. There's no McKenna. There's no Hendry. John McGinn misses this time.
John McGinn is the other one. So he's having to put together a relatively makeshift team, which has had problems up until the two previous Nations League qualifiers. Has had problems scoring goals. So it'd be interesting to see the team he picks. We know him well. We know that he goes with the guys he trusts. So I think you can expect to see Ryan Christie. I think you can expect to see Kenny McLean. I think you can expect not to see Ben Doak, despite the clamour for him. But I don't think there's much between these two sides. So it wouldn't surprise me if there's another Scottish performance like the first two, where we get forward and we try and give a good account of ourselves.
You talk about the tried and trusted. Nobody's been tried more than 41-year-old Craig Gordon. He'll surely start the game in the absence of Angus Gunn.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think there's any chance of it being anyone other than him, because he is another that Steve Clarke trusts. He's in the Hearts team, or it's a Hearts team that's misfiring at the moment, but I would be very surprised if it was anyone other than him.
At the back, Andy Robertson obviously will play. Steve Clarke loves Grant Hanley, despite the error against Poland at Hampden. Is it a case of who plays with Hanley? Will it either be Suter or Porteous, do you think?
I think it will be Suter or Porteous, and I suspect it will be Suter, simply because he's been part of a Rangers defence that hasn't lost a goal in domestic football since the Old Firm game. He's playing well. I'm not entirely sure that Clarke trusts Porteous, particularly after what happened in the Euros. So I would be surprised if it was anyone other than Suter at the back, and I guess it'll be Anthony Ralston at right back.
Yeah. Midfield, you've mentioned Kenny McLean. He'll probably sit in McGilmer as he did in the previous two Nations League games. Ryan Christie, as you say, McTominay, is it Che Adams up top? And regardless who plays up there, who plays the other role? Is there going to be a place for a James Forrest, for a Lewis Morgan, someone like that in the absence of McGinn?
I think that area is the one place where he's got some thinking to do. I'd be very surprised if he went for anyone up front other than Che Adams, because he's had a terrific start to his Serie A career, a little bit under the radar, a lot of attention going to the two guys that went to Napoli, Gilmour and McTominay. But he's going to Torino, a massive football environment, a massive football city, and he's done really well, hit the ground running. So you've got to pick a guy who's playing well in form. But it's that area on the right. I'm not convinced that James Forrest would be the answer. I would guess he would like somebody with slightly more defensive capabilities to help out Tony Ralston at the back. Whether that's Lewis Morgan, would he even trust Ryan Gauld in that area?
Yeah.
Because that he plays, although he's left-sided, he plays on the right side for Vancouver Whitecaps. So, I mean, that is the one area where I think he has some thinking to do.
An exciting week though. Modric on Saturday, Ronaldo at Hampden on Tuesday night. It's just great we're in that top league, really, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And this is the thing about it. Although I spoke to John Carver, the Scotland coach, on Tuesday, and he made the point that there will be short-term pain, but it will hopefully be for long-term gain, because if you're playing against the Modric's and the Cristiano Ronaldos, it's going to benefit particularly the younger guys seeing these guys up front and doing what they do so well.
That's it, Kenny. Thanks very much.
Well, we can now join Sunsport's Bookie Basher Jim Delahunt. We were looking for a big away win this weekend, Jim. I hope the one at Wembley last night isn't the only one we get.
Well, let's hope so, that we might get a win in Croatia, Roger. But that win at Wembley last night for Greece, 10-1 Greece were before the match, 1-4 England. Even if you fancied the draw, which might have been on after Jude Bellingham's equaliser, it was 9-2. But take nothing away from Greece. I heard one Sky News presenter this morning suggesting it was only a friendly. He had to be reminded that it was actually a Nations League match. But they'll get over that, I'm sure. If we touch on the Finland game, I'm sure that England will get back to winning form without too much difficulty there. But you're obviously alluding to the match that we have to play in Croatia. We've only played twice there since Yugoslavia broke up. Both of them are too far back to be relevant to tomorrow's game. But the pricing, again, I think the bookies have got this one right, Roger. The current prices for Scotland are 5-1 against to win in Zagreb, 4-7 Croatia. If you think we might have a Steve Clarke masterclass and get a draw, then you can back that at 16-5. But very much the bookies thinking that Croatia are going to win this. The only olive branch of hope I would stretch out is that Croatia lost to Portugal, the exact same result as we did, and it was away as well. So we shall see, but I certainly, if I'm being honest, I would not be hopeful of Scotland getting a win there tomorrow. And if we're looking at a bet, Roger, the one that I'm interested in is not the actual match result, because I do fear that Croatia are going to win the game. The bet that I'm interested in is Scott McTominay to score any time in the match, providing that Steve Clarke plays him from the start, which we hope he will. 9-2, Scott McTominay, the new star of Naples football. He's scoring goals. He's making a big impression over there in Italy. When you compare that to the prices for Che Adams, 4-1 for him to score. I think 9-2 McTominay to score any time. Remember, not to score first, to score any time. Maybe a bet that will keep us going till the end of the match.
Now, you, of course, an old school pal of Steve Clarke. Could he pull off the masterclass? He did it against the neighbours, Serbia, in that famous playoff to get us to the Euro 2020. Is it, are there, we've said about Croatia for 10 years, are they an ageing team? Could it be a 0-0 or a 1-1, Jim?
There's absolutely no doubt. You can't debate they're an ageing team, but they're an ageing team that is still doing the business. We suspect that 39-year-old Luka Modric will play. Kovacic will probably play as well. They are an ageing team, but they're a very good team, Roger. And if we're being perfectly honest, I'm sure you'll agree that they're much better than we are at the moment. I think whatever Steve Clarke tries to pull tomorrow, and the goalkeeping situation is obviously another one he has to deal with. I think it's going to be very, very difficult for us to get a result. We'll all pull on the old Scotland tops and hope that they do. But if I'm being pragmatic, I have to say this looks like a Croatia win.
We do have a bit of domestic football, Jim, this weekend. It's a sort of strange card. There's SPFL Trust Trophy games over Friday and Saturday. There's one League Two game. The standout is the Championship leaders, Falkirk away at Partick Thistle. The way John McGlynn's side are going, would you expect them to add to Chris Doolan's woes at Firhill tomorrow?
I would think that Falkirk would win that game. I was on here last week, Roger, and I tipped Falkirk to beat Ayr United. That turned out very well in my favour, if not so much for Ayr. I know Scott Brown was very disappointed with that Ayr United performance, but John McGlynn clearly has to be delighted with the way his Falkirk team have reacted to losing that 43-match unbeaten run. They go to Firhill tomorrow. My most decorated Firhill mole keeps telling me that Partick Thistle are going to come good, but I'm not seeing the signs of it so far, Roger. And I think even money tomorrow, Falkirk on that lovely turf at Firhill will manage to get a result. And I think even money Falkirk is the way to go tomorrow. Falkirk to beat Partick for me.
And of course, goals have really been the problem for Thistle, isn't it? It's at 6 in the last 8. They've even dried up a bit for Brian Graham, who was a captain and talisman last season.
Yeah, he certainly was, Roger. And as I say, they have promised at times this season to come good, Partick, but it's not looking great for them at the moment. And I think even with home advantage tomorrow, and sure to be a big crowd with very few other games on tomorrow, and most of them will be supporting Partick Thistle, even though Falkirk will take a good crowd down there to Maryhill. I think Falkirk are the team to bet tomorrow.
You have your column in the favourite in the Scottish Sun tomorrow. And weekends like this, you have to. I know you research every nook and cranny of this fixed odds card every week. But in weeks like this, especially, Jim, is there something hidden there? Is there a hidden gem even in the English lower leagues tomorrow?
Well, there might be, Roger. I'm working on that at the moment. There's very few games in League One because amazingly, some of the League One clubs have players away on international duty. So quite a lot of those games have been postponed. But there's a fairly decent League Two card. I'll be having a real good look at that in the column tomorrow, and hopefully we'll come up with one or two gems.
That would be perfect. Jim, thank you very much. We'll be back with you next Friday to look ahead to a full Premiership card and a couple of belters. Rangers down your neck of the woods at Kilmarnock, and of course the clash of the big two, Celtic and Aberdeen.
We're looking forward to that one, Roger. Who is going to be brave enough to call Aberdeen to win at Celtic Park? We'll find out.
Thanks, Jim.
Well, thanks for watching Go Ballistic. Remember, we'll be back on Monday to look back on Zagreb and look ahead to Cristiano Ronaldo at Hampden. Don't forget, we'll also have the Coffee Club with Bill Leckie and myself next Wednesday. We'll be back with another Go Ballistic next Friday, looking ahead to the Premiership football. And remember to watch a terrific 1-to-1 series where Derek McGregor, our football editor, has exclusive interviews with some of the top SPFL managers. If you like all this, remember to go to the Scottish Sunsport YouTube channel to like and subscribe, and there's plenty of content there. Thanks again.